Welcome to the Life Success and Legacy Podcast. We're glad you're here, and we hope you enjoy the episode.
Hey, we want to welcome everybody back to the Life Success Legacy Podcast. My name is Chris Bay, and we're mixing it up a little bit today. I have the special pleasure to introduce to you Haley Davidshofer, who is a dear friend of mine, also a client, and our lives have intersected in various different ways over the years. Haley, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Haley has some really fun elements to her story, to her financial journey. And we thought it would be good for listeners to get to hear her perspective and kind of the journey that she's been on. First of all, Haley, just a little bit of context, like who are you, where are you from, what, size family, that kind of stuff, just to give some people some context.
Yeah, I'm originally from Iowa. My parents are still there, and I have two siblings, and one is in Iowa, and she's married with 3 kids. And then there's my brother who's in South Carolina, and he recently got married. And I am living in Kansas City and have been down here for 14 years. And then I ventured off to Texas for a couple of years, and then now I am back in the Kansas City area, and I work remote full time. And yeah.
Awesome. And you've got to do some traveling here lately. You've been to California
Yeah.
and Texas, and I know you like to go to Florida as well.
Yes, I love going to Florida. I like to go look for shark teeth in Florida.
You're a beach girl.
Yes.
Yeah, shark teeth.
Yeah.
When's the next trip to Florida? Do you have one
planned? For sure in February, but I'm hoping to go sooner.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I would think February would be a good time to go to Florida.
Yeah.
For sure. So let's jump in a little bit. I love kind of like those, I'm an architecture guy. I spent 3 years in architecture school, and I always love those before and after pictures of remodels, right? Yeah. And what I'd love to hear is kind of your before and after remodel from your financial mindset, your perspective, those kinds of things. So maybe for the listeners, you can give a little bit of context of where were you in your financial mindset and reality pre-IBC? What did life look like for you? What was your relationship like with money and finance at that point?
Yeah, I came down to Kansas City after high school, and I went to college and ended up graduating from KU. So after KU, I purchased my first car. So I then realized I was making $41,000 a year with a college degree, and I had the college debt, car debt, and I had a little bit of credit card debt. So here I'm sitting with like $44,000 of debt and making $41,000 a year, and I'm like, something doesn't add up here. So that's when I took my all my expenses, and I was like, I got to do something different. And so I started my debt-free journey with Dave Ramsey. And so that was good to understand really the budgeting aspect of it. There are some principles I didn't fully adopt. I still use my credit card, but I was a lot more responsible. And I started my debt-free journey in about 2016. And my goal was to be completely debt-free before the time I was 30. So that was going to be 2018. And I beat my goal by a couple of months.
Of course you did.
Yeah. And I then had learned about life, success, and legacy and the infinite banking concept through Shelley Forbes. And her and I had worked together a few years prior, and we had just met up, and I'm like, well, what are you doing now? And she goes, you're not going to believe this. And so she filled me in, and I was like, well, that's really interesting. So then she invited me to a boot camp when they're still going on in Lawrence. So I was able to meet the team there. And I had just started to learn about IBC, read the book, and went to a few of the boot camps. And then I finally pulled the trigger to get my policies in 2020. And a friend of mine was like, why are you hanging on to all that cash? Why don't you do something with it? I'm like, you're right. It's opportunity cost. Like, I'm missing out on something. So I might as well go do this. And I'm really glad I did. And I wish I would have done it sooner, of course. So that's how I got started with my policies
Okay.
yeah. So I came to LSL with zero debt.
Which was highly disappointing to us because we love turning the wind current. The Dave Ramsey people of the world who've already done their work, it's like super boring plans to work on.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
But the great thing is those who come from that background are super disciplined and they're really fantastic, honest bankers. And so they really, they thrive in an IBC world. So I'm curious, you were asking Shelly, what are you doing now? She's like, you're not going to believe this. And you already had a relationship with Shelly where it was, I'm guessing, you tell me if I'm wrong, but you fully trusted Shelly.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So if Shelly's talking about this and doing this, you're like, okay, this is worth investigating.
Right.
Then you came to the boot camp, you read Nelson's book, etc. Was there any point in that process where you had like yellow or red flags going up where you're like, this doesn't make sense. I'm not sure I totally buy into this. Did you have any hesitations?
I think the only hesitation I really had was, why haven't I heard about it? Or why isn't there more people talking about it? So that was really mine. I read the book and I understood it. And when I attended the boot camp, like more things sunk in, and every boot camp that I had gone to, I learned something new. So it was just a continuation of the learning process. But yeah, I probably even jumped in with not fully understanding it, but I had a lot of trust in Shelly and you guys as a team. So, and I am glad I did it.
A lot of times in our boot camps, we do focus on turning the wind current because most people are coming to us with debt. You were different. You weren't coming to us with debt. So it was a different mindset. Did you have any challenge in seeing how it would apply to you, given the fact that you weren't turning wind current or debt?
Yeah, because I wasn't at the time needing to purchase anything, so to really finance anything. And so my next option would be for passive income, and I really didn't know what to do with that. So I held on to my policies before I actually really did anything with them for about a year.
Okay. So I want to, there's some interesting pieces that I think are not typical in the way you approached it, and I think are really smart, which speaks to you and the way you think about things. You didn't do a policy on yourself for IBC to start with, and I want to hear you talk about that. And then you also took it another step and you actually asked to have your policies designed differently.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about what your thought process was and how you were thinking about those decisions?
Well, initially, my policy was going to be on myself. And I got to thinking that my parents are still young and healthy. And
Thank you for using the word young, because I think I'm about the age of your parents.
yeah, maybe.
Mhm.
So I then asked the question, well, I'm like, it didn't really make sense to get a policy on me, and I could wait another year or two to then get a policy on myself, but to use this cash that I had on hand to start policies on them. And you guys had said that would be a great idea. And so as I was, I was in the mindset of having a policy on myself, but then when I then asked the question about my parents, I started sitting with that, and we had designed the policy doing the 40-60 split. So 40 base, 60 to the paid up petition writer. And I just had remember thinking, but if we reverse it to 60 base, 40 PUA, that it would be just more efficient down the road. And I really wanted to take Nelson's principles and think long term. So I compared the two illustrations that I had, and I chose the 60 base to 40 PUA.
Super smart. Now, that gives you your IBC system insuring your parents, which, God forbid, but timeline wise, they probably will pass before you. And then that death benefit, you are the beneficiary. You're the owner, the payer, and the beneficiary. It's just ensuring their lives. You get to use it for all of your financing needs yourself. when they pass away, then those death benefits will come to you.
Yeah.
Okay. That doesn't address coverage for you. So what was your thought process and what was your solution for making sure that you had the life insurance in place that you needed?
Yeah. So I got a convertible term policy.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I plan on getting go ahead.
Just to give you that safety net that if for some reason you became uninsurable, you could
Yes.
still convert it into an IBC style whole life policy, but you weren't committing big finances to your own policy. You were really putting that money to work in your parents' policies.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. It's so interesting to me that you decided to go with 60% base, 40% PUA. Again, you were thinking long term, which is smart. In the context of as IBC has become more and more popular and there's more and more information out there and people are pushing these like 90% in the PUA, 10% in the base, because I want to get that immediate early impact, that cash value. And yet you flip and you go completely opposite. I just find that really interesting. And I hope that your story for the listeners opens some eyes that, I mean, Mike Kwong, a lot of his policies, he does 50-50 splits, you know?
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about the mech as much because you've pulled it away. Those 90-10s are so tight up against the mech line, and you got to add a big, massive term rider. And so there's drag to it, all those things. But there's a lot of people out there who are really for that.
Yeah. And that's one thing I have learned through this journey is the mech and, you know, learning a lot about how much we pay in interest and how much we pay in taxes. And so how can we try to eliminate most of that? So that's why I love the IBC stuff. It's really cool.
So contrast for me your mindset pre-IBC, when you were doing Dave Ramsey's approaches, etc., and where you are now. And then I want to talk about how you have used your IBC policy. So contrast for us your mindsets. What has changed for you?
Actually, I've had a couple mindset shifts just this past year, and really within the past 6 months, is that I no longer do my company match. They provide a nice 6% match, and it's free money. And I decided not to do that anymore because I saw that my money is working harder for me, not only in these IBC policies, but also with the passive income that I am doing.
Okay.
And then another mindset shift that I've had is, and this one happened probably about a year ago, is that I don't have any money in really my savings account. It's all in my IBC policies. Because if I have an emergency, like I have the money in my savings or checking account would be for my monthly expenses, but anything above and over that, I store in my IBC policies if there's room.
Yeah. Do you have anything under the mattress? In your gun safe, Haley? Do you have a bunch of money in your gun safe?
I've got no cash laying around.
I've told this story a couple times, but there was a teacher that I was working with, and she actually started a $10,000 annual premium policy, and she paid the first premium with all cash she found around the house.
That's crazy. I love that.
She's awesome. She's awesome. Okay. So now you've got these policies in place. You don't have any debt. You don't even know what to use your cash value for. You're not buying anything. Have you used them for anything? You mentioned passive income. So you're using it for something, right? You're leveraging it, your cash values as your line of credit. Tell our listeners a little bit about what you're doing with how you've used your cash values.
Yeah. So exactly what you said. I use it as a line of credit, and I was introduced to Tardis in 2021. So I've been with them for about 2 years, and learning the income snowball and just the things that you think about for what they're trying to coach you on is leverage, cash flow. So those are kind of new to me. I mean, I just got out of debt, and here they are saying, "Hey, how about you get right back into debt?" But
So at first, when you were taking loans against your policies to leverage that towards your income snowball, did that feel like debt to you, and did it feel bad, especially based on kind of your Dave Ramsey's background?
No, I mean, once I understood what I was doing through TARDIS, I now carry loans all the time.
Mm.
So yeah, my stress about money and that having debt is no more. I mean, I even got a new car in 2020 and I decided to get a loan, and
A
I've
car
now,
loan or a policy loan?
sorry, a car loan,
Car loan.
because the interest was really, really low.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just going to be more efficient to borrow the money from them. But now that my balance is down low and my car payment is still at, I'm just going to say $600,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, I have maybe $12,000 left. I've realized through TARDIS and even reading Mike Kwong's book Dibs is how
Mm-hmm.
efficient your debts could be. And my debt is not efficient anymore. I can go deploy that $12,000 and make more money versus the $600 I'm giving to somebody else. So
Yeah.
I'm not only doing passive income, but I'm going to turn the wind current when I get my third policy on myself.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's exciting.
yeah.
You have shared IBC with other people, and I've gotten to meet some of your friends and family, etc., that have wanted to learn more about IBC, and we've had some great. In fact, we even did a podcast with one of your contacts,
Yeah.
and so that's been really fun. What is it that motivated you to share with other people?
I guess it was more of a confidence thing to be able to speak about IBC. And then I had a conversation with a friend a year ago, and her husband are both entrepreneurs, and they went to the bank. They already own a warehouse, and they went to the bank to try to get a loan for a house, and the bank was giving them a little bit of trouble. And so I felt bad, but then I said, if we all would have done IBC policies, or if our parents or grandparents would have had these, we would have had our own family bank and never have been able to go to the bank. We wouldn't need it. And she goes, I have heard about this concept. I heard about it about 8, 9 years ago. And she
Mm-hmm.
goes, if I would have done it then you're right. I would be absolutely fine. So, and then a week later, I go to a networking event and somebody had mentioned legacy. And then the light bulb clicked. And I'm like, I want to help educate people on creating a legacy.
Mm, that's cool. Yeah, that's a drive for me too. A lot of times people ask, because the way we structure the policies for people for cash value, typically our commissions are significantly lower than other life insurance agents, which we even joke crack up about being life insurance agents. But that's part of IBC is the life insurance part. But to me, it takes so much time to educate people. We spend a ton of time educating people. We lower our commissions so that the policies are designed well for the clients, all those kinds of things. We do ongoing coaching of our clients and don't charge for that. And people go, why in the world would you do all those things? And it's because we are motivated to share this concept with people. And I kind of go back to the book, The Go-Giver. It's like, if we give and we teach and we share and we do all those things, then the fifth principle of the Go-Giver is be open to receiving, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so as we've shared and taught people and supported them in their IBC plans and programs, then we just trust that it reciprocates, right? And it has.
Yep.
I mean, we're all taking care of our families, and we're excited to work with each other and do all those things. So yeah. So what's it been like talking with your parents about this? Because they very much come from a Dave Ramsey background as well. And I've had the chance to talk with them, and I love their questions. They're so thoughtful. It's obvious, where you get it. But they're very thoughtful, respectful, but they're engaged. They want to understand. What's that been like talking with them?
Um, I had been studying IBC for many years, and I would drop little tidbits to them, and I would want them to be on this journey with me because I was the one that got them on the Dave Ramsey journey. And so they were kind of hesitant until I got my life insurance license. And I said, if I'm this passionate about this, could you please just read the book, listen to the podcast? And my mom started listening to the podcast, read the book, bought more books, listened to other companies like their podcasts. And yeah, she was the one that got really excited. And that's been a lot of fun dreaming with her. And now my dad he's getting there too.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. I love the fact you're a young professional and you're sharing with other young professionals, and people trust you just the way you are wired. They know that what you say you believe in and are trustworthy. And I would say to our listeners, some of us are 50, 60 years old, middle class, white males, Midwestern, right? But if you prefer to talk to someone who is a young professional, who is using their policies, building passive income, and you align with Haley's story, reach out to her. We can leave a email or contact information in the notes. Mike Crawford can do that, and then people can reach out. Or if they reach out to us, we can get you in contact with Haley as well if you want to learn more about her strategy and how she has built her IBC system.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else that you want to share about your journey, your mindset change, anything else?
I mean, the crazy thing is I came to you guys as strangers. I knew Shelly, but I was a stranger. Then I became a client, and then we became friends and mentor, and now we're colleagues. And so it's been a fun journey with the LSL team.
Yeah, and so just for information for folks, Haley has been training with us and learning how to do applications, which she now knows. In fact, Haley is going to do an application for my wife and I, which right after we finish recording this, she and I are going to look at that email you sent and get to work on that. But Haley, because we wanted some additional help in doing applications, Haley has been training with Shelly to do that and is up and running now. So we're grateful for that additional help that you're providing us. And then also, you, as you mentioned, you have to be licensed to do applications and so forth, but you're also an associate coach. And so when you rub elbows with people and they're curious about your story, then you also refer them to us and we support them together on their IBC journey. So yeah, you've got your hat in several different rings for sure.
I do.
Yeah,
I'm having fun though.
that's good. Haley, this has been a blast for me. I know that your story, your mindset, your journey with IBC, and your financial journey is going to be super helpful to people who are listening. Thank you for taking the time to share your story with us.
No, thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
To our listeners, check us out. Some of the references that Haley mentioned, like our boot camps. We have one coming up, I believe, the end of this month. They're always on Saturday mornings. I think the 29th is our next one, if that's a Saturday. Sign up for a boot camp. Even before that, sign up for a webinar with Mike Everett that he does about every other week, live in the evenings on Mondays. We have a IBC learning kit if you prefer to learn on your own and kind of take your own journey on your own. If you want to reach out to us and set up a consult, you can do that. We have a whole list of books, documents, and of course the podcasts, which go back to 2016. And we've released just about every 2 weeks since 2016. So there's a lot of content there. If you're new to IBC, the two things I would say is go back to the very beginning of our podcast of 2016, the introductory ones. Also, get yourself a copy of Becoming Your Own Banker, Nelson's book. That's a great place to start. And then if you want to set up a consult or do a webinar with us, those are great places to just get introduced. Trust me, we will not pressure you. We were all clients at one point. We hate the salesy stuff. We love to teach this concept and meet you where you are. So don't hesitate to reach out if that's your learning style. So thanks for joining us, everybody. Haley, thanks again for joining us. Have a great day.